Will Swenson, great to have you in Australia. Great to hear you're going to be the Neil Diamond in beautiful
Thank you.
Noise in
Super good to
Australia.
be here.
And well, I guess you're no stranger to Australians, are you? You were in The Greatest Showman. You've done
I
Priscilla
was in The
Queen of
Greatest
the
Showman,
Desert.
and I also did Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. So
Yeah,
I feel like an honorary Australian.
yeah. You can always ring Hugh Jackman and ask for tips.
Could do, could do.
Travel tips. Yeah, being Neil Diamond, you probably through this role know Neil as much as Neil.
It's possible. I sometimes, because I got to know Neil through the course of rehearsals, I sometimes felt like a stalker because I was simultaneously reading every biography available and watching every video I could, every YouTube, documentaries. And so now I'm quite a Neil Diamond historian, but doing it simultaneously while knowing the man, I felt a little bit like a stalker. But I feel like, yeah, I do. I know quite a little bit about Neil. And now I know him as well, which is crazy.
Well, you were recounting a couple of hours ago when I saw you about meeting Neil for the first time. That must have been the most bizarre experience ever.
The craziest. The craziest. Because I grew up with him as an icon. He was my dad's favorite singer growing up. Literally had a poster of Neil Diamond in our garage from my childhood. And the idea that I would get to meet him someday, let alone portray him and get to know him as a person, is crazy. But yeah, that first time, I practically passed out. I barely remember it because I was so nervous, knowing that I had to kind of sing his songs in front of him. It was nuts.
And how great that we got to hear him talk this morning with you and Paul Daty. I'll just play a bit of that here.
So, Neil, we're here in Melbourne at the Princess Theatre where the show will open next August. And we've got a lot of friends here, media and theatre people, and Will is here with me.
Hey Neil, how you doing, brother?
Hello, everybody in Australia.
I just did my best Neil Diamond at 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how it went.
Yeah, he's tough, but when I see you in person, it's going to be great.
Tremendous. Well, it's always an honor and always a thrill to get to see you.
The honor is mine. I was very happy to hear that you're playing me when you come to Australia.
Well, it was a no-brainer. I know how much you love Australia. I know how much Australia loved you over the years. So when I got this opportunity, that was an easy yes.
Yes, good.
Do you have a favorite memory of being on tour here in Australia?
Oh, I do. We played 5 or 6 cities there, and it was just great. The audience was wonderful, and I loved every minute of it. We kept coming back, and we're still coming back.
One of my favorite concerts of yours ever was the Jonathan Livingston Seagull concert. You were wearing a big, blousy, yellow silk shirt, and I watched that thing into the ground. It was a beautiful concert.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Will.
What a thrill that was for us in the crowd there this morning to be in the room with Neil Diamond talking to us all.
Every single time I talk to him, I kind of leave the room and go, did that just happen? I literally just talked to Neil Diamond. What is happening? What's my life?
The show is structured around therapy sessions. It's a unique way to tell this story, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Neil's idea. I think he just kept saying that he wanted to tell his story honestly. And he's someone that had a lot of therapy and dealt with some demons and some darkness in his life and had to reconcile with certain things. And most of note is recently him being diagnosed with Parkinson's and having to come to terms with the fact that he couldn't perform anymore. And for somebody that, toured for 50 plus years to just say you can't perform anymore, to take that piece of you, that huge part of you that means so much to you and set that aside and say, am I enough without that, is a massive undertaking to try to reckon with. And so the show deals with those ideas and some sort of dark parts of his life and some deep things that he's had to overcome. And I think it's, apart from being an amazing night of great music, it's really moving. It's structurally, it's really creative and really cool.
You first performed the role of Neil Diamond in Boston and then took the role to New York. Did you evolve the character between the two cities?
I hope so. I hope so. We didn't tweak the show too much between Boston and New York, but hopefully every performance, grows a bit, and you learn tricks to try to. In my case, I'm emulating somebody who is alive, and we can study his videos and his sound and try to hone that and perfect that. And then as you learn more about his life, like maybe the emotional performance in that journey gets a little more well honed. Um, but I don't know. I don't know how much it evolved over time. Hopefully.
This show was written by Bob Gaudio, the legendary Four Seasons performer and songwriter. And I met Bob when he was in Australia, and he was recounting the story about the day he was in the studio with Neil Diamond and Barbra Streisand recording You Don't Bring Me Flowers. He was the producer of that song. And the phone rang, and he heard the story Elvis Presley had passed away. And he went into the next room to tell Neil and Barbara of that experience.
Holy cow, I've never heard that story. That's crazy.
Yeah. And here he is now working on the Neil Diamond Show.
Yeah, it was a privilege to have Bob. He's such a musical genius and has been working, in the music business his whole life. And to have, the man who produced so much of Neil's music be our music supervisor was incredible. He would just, in the studio, he'd change one instrument and suddenly it sounded more like Neil's arrangements. And in rehearsals, he'd say, no, let's flip this harmony so that you're on top and this other person is below, and then suddenly it sounded closer to what Neil's recordings sounded like. It was just like having this ace in the hole, this absolute cheat on how to make it sound perfect.
Bob also did the Jersey Boys, and he's doing the Neil Diamond Show. Are there commonalities in the productions?
Well, I think in the fact that when you're dealing with a songbook musical, the trick is to try to not just have it be this kind of linear, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. I think you could very easily just kind of, turn it into sort of a concert evening and some jazz hands and some big flashy musical numbers. And I think the challenge is to try to present the information in a creative way and have there be something to learn and a sort of a lesson and a journey. So I think the similarities that Jersey Boys and A Beautiful Noise have is that the structure of those shows are really creative, and the stories are told in a way that we're engaged. There's a lot of shifting of weight in an energetic moment, and then a softer moment, and maybe an introspective moment, and then a big number. Like it's the colors are changing quickly, and it keeps the audience leaned in, and that it's not just a happy concert night, but that you also end up feeling something and asking yourself some questions. I think both of those songbook musicals are at the top of their game in the way that they're crafted.
Neil Diamond's music spans 6 decades. Is there a particular era or song that you're most attracted to?
I mean, all of it. I probably the earlier stuff, because my dad loved Neil from the beginning. So he listened to a lot of his earlier stuff. Basically, Hot August Night, anything on that record, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is the soundtrack to the movie, is this huge orchestral piece that a lot of folks aren't as familiar with. We were obsessed with in my home. And then some of the earlier stuff, Kentucky Woman and I'm a Believer. A lot of people don't know that Neil wrote a lot of songs for other artists and that he wrote all of his own songs. Just what a massive talent, let alone leave the performing alone, but he wrote all of his songs and wrote tons of hits for other people as well.
You also get to work with an Australian icon, Paul Dainty. Paul,
Yes.
who he brought ABBA to Australia in 1977. And, when I look back at the man's career, what a privilege it is for you to be able to work with such a legend.
For real. I got to have dinner with Paul the other night, and it was incredible I just was like kind of pumping him for stories, just like couldn't believe all the folks that he worked with. And he has so many Neil Diamond stories. He literally he told me the other night, and he reminded us today that his son is his godfather is Neil. like they're close, and they toured. I think he said 7 times he produced Neil tours down here.
Mm.
Like they are old friends, and yeah, no, he's an icon, and it's been amazing to get to know Paul.
Well, I can't wait to see you in the Neil Diamond role. I can't wait to find out how the story is told. And you will be back in Australia for an extended run at the end of
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get back down here.
So what happens to you in the meantime? Do you go home and back to Broadway?
Yeah, I've got a couple of projects in development back there, and then I'll just kill some time before coming back down in July of next year.
Perfect. Can't wait to see you.
I'm excited to be here.
Will Swenson, thanks for joining us here at Noise 11.
You bet. Great to talk to you.